Hello, this is A Automotive Reviews. Today we got the 2021 Ford Bronco versus the 2021 Ford Mustang Mach-E. This is a war of the ages. Now I'm pretty sure most of you have noticed that car lovers around the world are living in some pretty interesting times nowadays. The actual status quo of mobility, on the whole, is on the verge of taking a rather abrupt turn, either for the worse or for the better. Now everything we know and love or hate about the automobile is going to change irremediately in the next decade or so. I'm not talking about autonomous driving or flying cars, at least not just yet, but about the very concept that makes you look at a car and say, I want to own one and drive that. Not long ago, classifying a vehicle you saw for the first time was like cracking a nut with a sledgehammer. We only had sedans, hatchbacks, station wagons, SUVs, convertibles, pickup trucks, and sports cars, albeit each of these segments had their own sub-niches that were probably a bit harder to pinpoint, but not impossible. Yes, some convertibles are actually roadsters, and some hatchbacks can be sports cars, while some SUVs can hit 60 in under 4 seconds. Wow. But this basic essence is still pretty obvious to the trained or untrained eye. Well, here we are in the third decade of the 21st century, and things are becoming increasingly complicated. From this point of view, especially since there is also a clash of generations brewing in the distance. Both baby boomers and Generation Xers are slowly fading out of the spotlight, their place being taken over by an assortment of more digitally literate millennials, are members of the so-called Generation Z. Not all Generation Z folks are yet old enough to drive or wealthy enough to buy a car. Some say they don't even have an interest in them anyway. But most car makers are currently struggling to develop alternative means of transportation, mostly with the Generation Z people in mind. On that bombshell, most surveys say that the Generation Z people are about as crazed as they are flies splattered across a windshield. And they issue driving every chance they get. I don't want to drive. Nah. Show them the latest foldable electric scooter, our sci-fi looking autonomous pod concept car, and you'll need to mop their drool from the floor. But throw them the keys of a 68 Dodge Charger, and they'll run away screaming on their self-balancing hoverboards. What the hell? I exaggerate, obviously, but previous generations did grow up believing that having and owning the car was a pivotal part of life. Nowadays, with the advent of the car sharing and improvement in public transportation, owning a car is obviously less crucial than before. Most people today, when they do want to go somewhere, they either get an Uber or a Lyft. I mean, people are starting to do that. Are they riding electric bicycles? So, hey, they're becoming more conscientious and saving the environment. That's a good thing. Now, with that said, car makers still want to remain relevant in the future, like any old age business. So most of them are competing in various ways to spark the joy of motoring in the younger generation. Sometimes the competition's taking place inside of a car brand's own lineup. So there is a sibling rivalry within a Ford. Now, I think the best example of how you can offer seemingly antithetical products for a continuously changing market that is heading toward the future where no one owns a car is found in Detroit, of all places. Ford is the first Detroit Big Three and among the first in the world to take a dip in a whirlwind with two upcoming models that are about as divergent as millennials are from baby boomers. I'm obviously talking about the extremely old school 2021 Ford Bronco and the poles apart 2021 Mustang Mach-E, both of which are currently trying to establish themselves as key market players in their respective niches. The Bronco is an antediluvian boxy off-road with a rigid rear axle and is powered by an internal combustion engine that, no matter how efficient EcoBoost technology is, it runs on the good old dinosaur juice. Now, the Mustang Mach-E save for the anachronistic and downright insulting name, is a digital car from the digital age, powered by electric motors and the same kind of energy that runs through wires, not pipes. It's almost like Ford wanted to enforce a generation gap into his own model's lineup, thus reiterating a battle of two distinct ages. Similar wars took place when horse-drawn carts began to be placed by noisy horseless carriages. Nobody knew who would win in the end, but you can be sure as hell not that many cowboys were friendly with gas station owners for a while. Fittingly for it, the Bronco and the Mustang Mach-E have horse-inspired names with a large legacy behind them. So it will be interesting to see which of their two niches will become the mainstream in the long run. Well, I like the Bronco nameplate. Hopefully they'll return to be the successful one. But we're betting our money on the electron-powered newcomer. Now, the Mustang Mach-E is definitely a new age, a new concept of an electric car. So, wow. Can you imagine that? Now, we have the Bronco here, and we'll get back to this in a second. This is the Bronco sitting in the public limelight, in the parking lot. And, of course, we got this Bronco Sport right by it. And we got all these beautiful yellow ones. Then we have the interior of the Bronco in itself. Just look at it. It just looks vintage. At the same time, modern. Which is quite nice. You have the 10, I think it's a 10.8 inch infotainment system. And you got the nice leather. You got the whole package. And then you have the convertible top. And then you also have the Yokohama roof, where you can put everything from the first aid kit, body boards, everything. You can just throw it right on top. You have the LED lights. What a rugged off-road utilitarian vehicle. Generation Z, what might be won over by the Bronco? Because you can't take your hoverboard. I guess you could take your hoverboard into the wild. But however, the Bronco's doing it big. And what a concept. Look at them wheels. Definitely nice in every way, folks. A vintage automobile has come back. But hopefully Generation Z will soak this up. And hopefully Ford will be on top. But which one will be the successful one? Will it be the Mach-E? Or will it be the Ford Bronco? That's something to be seen. Something to be seen. Now, the Ford Mustang Mach-E is a millennial slap in the face to baby boomers. Now, before we begin the diatribe, I must say that I'm well aware that I'm going to receive a lot of flack about this. For somebody may say that I'm talking full of responsibility. Keep it in mind, it's just an opinion, even though it's somewhat based on facts. Now, I should probably also start by mentioning that I have most always had the soft spot for the Blue Oval, especially following the 2008-2010 global financial crisis, when Ford was the only one of the Detroit Big Three to survive without the help of the government money. Now, against the backdrop, Ford has also been a purveyor of the performance, never before seen in a traditional American car maker. Sure, Dodge Hellcat family is mind-boggling impressive, and the Chevrolet mid-engine Corvette is already a phenomenon for completely changing the VAT timeline. But neither of Ford direct rivals has developed almost an entire lineup based on performance versions. From the 2015 or so, Ford has been reinventing itself. It has all but resurrected the legendary total performance slogan of the 1960s, which gave birth to some of the coolest American muscle cars and sports cars. Not to mention the time when it downright obliterated Ferrari at the Le Mans 4 times in a row, albeit doggone. Now, developing a flat plane V8 that can rev through the stratosphere and can only be bought in a handful of models, introducing a new Ford GT, that's pretty much a racing car for the road, and offering up to 760 horsepower on the road vehicle that is not even the top of the range in the work of the Renaissance Car Company. At least this is what Ford led us to believe, until it decided to forever tarnish the Mustang name by bringing an electric crossover, as you see here. What the heck can it be? The Ford Mustang Mach-E has fewer things in common with the Mustang than it does with the Escape. So why is Ford forcing us to call something that it clearly isn't? Apart from the headlights, the tail lights, and the running horse badge, there's simply nothing that even remotely similar to a Mustang on the up-and-coming EV crossover. Yet the Blue Oval is referring to it as the fifth member of the current Mustang family, bringing the famous pony into the electric age. No, just don't. It's not that I have a tooth against electric cars. I really don't. For example, a 900 horsepower Mustang Lithium, a one-off Mustang EV with a freaking 6-speed manual, especially made for the SEMA 2019. It's something that I'll probably call a Mustang family member in a heartbeat. Can you imagine a 6-speed manual in an electric car? Wow. Sounds amazing. The Mustang Mach-E, on the other hand, is like a rolling screen for help. Okay, never mind. Mustang monikers, but why? Also bring the infamous Mach name into it as well. Does Ford really not care about the baby boomers that grow up salivating at the original Mach 1? Especially one fitted with a Ram-Air Cobra Jet 428. Does car nomenclature even mean anything anymore in Dearborn, Michigan? It's not unlike the Chevrolet giving a Corvette moniker to a front-wheel drive car subcompact that rivals the Mitsubishi Mirage, or the Porsche slapping the turbo name on the electric vehicle. What the heck? What they do that for? I even rode in that baby, and it's quite fast. But to be called a Turbo S, it's not a turbo engine. Oh well, actually it's not just the name and positioning that irks me about the up-and-coming Mustang Mach-E, but the technical bits as well. In short, every single detail about the model looks like it was passed it from the Tesla Model Y specification catalog. Both Ford and the Tesla have 5 seats, all-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive versions, and an extra luggage compartment. Now that was to be expected. A Tesla Model Y Performance starts at $61,000, offers an EPA of 280 miles of range, and hits 60 in just under 3.5 seconds. The Ford Mustang Mach-E GT will apparently undercut the Tesla by $500. Wow, that's very expensive. Offer an EPA estimated range of 235 miles, and will go from 0 to 62 in the mid 3 seconds. Alongside the previously mentioned detail, everything seems to be either a carbon copy, a slightly improved aspect, or just a little tiny bit worse. Now, to be fair, the Ford does offer a drainable front luggage compartment, just in case you got fish swimming in the trunk. But the fair part of this is that even though it's only big enough to store body parts, not the entire bodies, it's not that huge. But I guess you could put your drinks in there and your beer in there and get to a location to just drink. But remember, don't drive. Cops will love you. You drinking beer out of your front. And they're wondering, like, what the heck, sir? And you're like, I'm not driving. And everybody's drunk and everybody's looking at each other, but nobody's driving. They're just drinking beer out of the cooler. Nah, that's something else. Now, on the other hand, Ford doesn't own the supercharger network. And none of the cars have a QTA update of level 2-3 autonomous system as advanced as the autopilot. With that said, the Mustang Mach-E will definitely steal some sales from the Model Y, mainly thanks to the $7,500 federal tax credit, for which Teslas will no longer be entitled to when Ford goes on sale. Taking all this into account, wouldn't it even be easier for the car to be called something like the Escape Electric, or make it a part of the Escape family, instead tarnishing Ford's prestigious model? It would have made more sense for so many reasons, including the fact that the 2005 Escape Hybrid was a pioneer model in the segment, and we're already talking about the SUV, not the inventor of the pony car, but Ford's most iconic car name. But on the other hand, wow, personally, this is what AO would think of it. I think the Bronco is going to master everything. I think the Bronco is on point. I would definitely vouch for the Bronco. I mean, Mustang Mach-E, it is a performance, but they need to like beef it up some. And I've seen some concepts of the Mustang Mach-E beefed up, with the 4 exhaust pipes in the back. But no, it didn't have exhaust pipes, but it looks sharp on the back because it's electric. Wouldn't make no exhaust pipes, but you got to have cooling. But I guess they should somehow make some kind of cooling and make it look cool. Perhaps they can make those look like exhaust pipes. The cooling for the electric, for the batteries, which would probably look crazy, but would fit the bill. It would look quite sharp. But above all, the Bronco, I believe, is going to come on top and it's going to rescue the Ford name and it's going to make them the most profit. Mustang Mach-E actually sold out already, and the Bronco has not sold out. Actually, I think the Bronco, the first edition did sell out and it sold out pretty quick, but the Bronco is made of definitely, there's definitely going to be more units of the Bronco than the Mustang Mach-E. This is Automotive Reviews. Thanks for watching. Remember, like, share, and subscribe.
If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more interesting videos.